Good morning, good morning. I'm up before noon. It's a great day. I've got my Easter sweater on. I've got my earrings in. I'm ready for traffic court. So last year, 2019, and certainly the first part of this year, thus far, have been definitely traffic ticket years. And now I'm not only bleeding, but having to go to court for them, which is always such a blast. Oh my God. One word of advice: do not get traffic tickets, and don't have sex, because you will get chlamydia and die. So obviously later on I will be making another video about tactic number 3 on how to make a shitty day a little less shitty, but for right now I wanted to document part of my relationship, which I have a little bit of trouble documenting consistently. I don't really remember the last time I sat down and made a video about this, partially because I try to respect his privacy as much as I can. However, he does know that this is what I do and this is my passion, and documenting my life and sharing my life story with people is what I love to do. So he kind of knows what he signed up for a little bit. That being said, I am going to try my best to be objective about this, even though I am only one side of the equation and have emotions and connotations attached to everything that happens in my relationship, but I'm going to do my best. So the topic for today is something that I'm going to call returning the favor. So when we have people in our lives that do things that we don't like, and then we tend to reciprocate that behavior, the results aren't always pretty. I've noticed that with certain things in our relationship, and my God, I'm sure there are things that I do that I can't handle when they're dished out to me, but there's been a problem in our relationship, and for the sake of privacy and reputation's sake, I'm not going to say exactly what's been happening, but it's been something that's unsavory, to say the least. Anyway, this has been happening quite often, off and on, throughout the second half of our relationship. The first half, it wasn't really that way, and obviously being an active addiction has a huge part of that. Addiction, whether people like to believe it or not, changes people. There are a lot of things that I've noticed about myself that were not a thing when I was clean and sober and wholesome and whatever else you want to say. So this particular thing that has been sort of a trend in our relationship, an unfortunate trend, is something that I decided to reciprocate yesterday and sort of give him a taste of his own medicine, so to say. And at first it didn't go well. There was about 30 minutes of drama, and then he actually told me that he was glad that I did it because it gave him a perspective on how I felt when he did it to me. So I thought that that was a very adult way of handling it. I was very happy that that was the outcome and the ultimate feeling that he had on the situation, because the initial feeling was not that great. I do want to follow that by saying, while he and I are, let's just say, toxic at the moment, that's something that I can admit, because a relationship in active addiction is not really, it doesn't really work. But obviously when emotions are attached, it's way easier said than done to just walk away from somebody. I think a lot of people who have ever had very strong feelings for somebody will understand that it's easier said than done to just say, okay, I need to cut this person off to work on myself, or for whatever reason. So anyhow, things have been very rocky, and we've been very toxic, and dare I say abusive. Not physically, thank God, but I know I have certainly been at least verbally abusive, because I have what some people call a temper, and it's not always pretty when I get angry. So I actually kicked a hole in my wall like a month ago, but that's neither here nor there. Anyhow, at the end of the day, I have really strong feelings for this person, because when things started out, and even in the middle, it was basically chill as fuck. We didn't fight. We would bicker over stupid things, but it was like occasionally, and things were over and done with pretty quickly. So we didn't fight that much, and we were best friends prior to dating. We developed a friendship first, which I will definitely recommend for anybody that is considering getting into a new relationship. Definitely recommend being friends first. For sure, has definitely allowed me to be a lot more vulnerable than I probably would be if we had just, say, gone on a blind date and started dating. It would have taken a lot longer for me to be as vulnerable as I am, and maybe I never even would have gotten to this point. Let's be serious. We are both working really hard to examine our next step in our relationship. As of right now, we're thinking about shifting the focus more to ourselves. That could potentially mean taking a break, ceasing contact for a while. It all just depends. I have court this week, 2 days this week. So fucking hype about that shit. And then I will be going into detox finally. I did try to get into detox Monday, but once they asked my name and asked me if I had pending court cases, I had to say yes, even if I would have said no, which crossed my mind because I just wanted to get in that bad. They would have looked up my name and found the court cases anyway. So I have to go today and Friday, and then I will be calling the detox facility on Friday. I've already spoken to one of the managers there, and she sort of told me all the steps to take prior to being admitted. She told me certain things that I would be turned away for, certain things that I can bring, certain things that I can't bring, and just sort of the overall vibe of the institution. This will be my first time going to this particular institution for detox, but I am definitely looking forward to it. Definitely. I'm not as nervous this time, which is really good. And I think with my last run at detox, the problem was that I didn't go bed to bed, straight from detox to treatment, which is longer term, at least 30 days. And that was my plan. I just didn't have an appointment set up, and it was poor planning ahead of time and all that, blah, 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 blah. My fault. Anyway, this time I will definitely be going bed to bed. And last time, even though I did relapse shortly after detox, completing detox, I was in a good space mentally. Typically, I don't do well with inpatient things. I get kind of cagey and sort of, it's just a lack of control that really, really bothers me. And a lack of windows and clocks and things. I get very claustrophobic, and I just tend to want to leave early, which is not a very good thing. So anyhow, back to the relationship. So because I am planning on that, and he's planning on taking his own trip to recovery, we are looking at our relationship and seeing what the next step is for us. But I wanted to ask your guys' opinion on maybe some things that you guys are dealing with your relationship. If you're brave enough to comment, that's up to you. But I would like to get some feedback on maybe instances where you had somebody doing something that you didn't really like, and you decided to give them a taste of their own medicine. What was the outcome like? Did they take responsibility for their actions, like Jake did? Or were they like, fuck off? Because a lot of times I find that when people are kind of bulls in china shops with people's emotions, and they just kind of walk through wrecking people's lives and do shit that drives people crazy and don't really think twice about how it might affect them, they tend to be very, very defensive about getting called out on their shit or even having their behavior reciprocated. So I do want to hear from you guys about maybe some instances where you did that, you finally got fed up, you're like, you know what, I'm going to show you how this feels. So please comment, please engage, and have a wonderful day. I will be catching up with you guys later for tactic number 3. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you've enjoyed the 5 tactics thus far, and I will talk to you soon. Bye!